Today is International Women's Day. And on my pages, on all of my platforms, I share women's stories. We share women's stories to support women, to warn women, to help women, whatever. We are, like this says, rising up. Sisters share hope, vision, solidarity. That is what we're doing by sharing each other's stories. Now, I have been sharing these stories of these trad wives and taking precaution and making sure that women and girls can survive, relationship or no relationship. I want women to be able to survive. So I've been sharing these trad wife stories and I'm going to continue to share. And today I'm going to share some comments from the post. So this woman left a comment on my That Trad Wife to Single Mom Pipeline is Real video. She says, "Gosh, thank you for this. The man I married was a loving, humble Christian man with wonderful Christian friends, and he was in the Word daily. Fast forward, after 5 years of marriage and 2 children, he had an affair and abandoned me. Still calls himself a Christian though. Now I'm a newly single mom at 34 and feel shamed by other Christian women all the time who say that's why it's so important to choose our husbands well, still putting the onus on the woman for the husband's bad decisions." This woman says, "As an ex Mormon who was born into the church, I can tell you that unless you've experienced cult indoctrination, there's no way you can understand how powerful it is, especially its effect on you as a child. It's taken me my whole life to unravel myself from its toxicity." I brought that up because so many women get into my, no, not a lot, but some women get into my comment section and make it like it's the woman or the girl's fault for lacking discernment, or it's the woman or the girl's fault for lacking education, when the indoctrination and socialization to defer to a man is is embedded in our DNA as a child. Some of these women and girls don't have any choices because this is what they have seen their whole lives. This is what they have been programmed with. And the programming is working when they take out their brain, insert the program for the church, and then they just act as if they are those wives, those trad wives. This person says, "As an example of this, my grandfather left my grandmother alone and penniless with 13 kids. They lived in Mexico. My grandmother was a good Christian woman, and she was married at the age of 15 as a virgin. He was like 10 years older than her. My grandmother gave him her best years and birthed 13 kids for him. He left her when she was in her 40s to marry a 19-year-old. He refused to leave my grandmother anything, and my grandmother still had 5 kids under the age of 18 who depended on her. Well, because of the economy, lack of jobs, and her lack of education, after many failed attempts to get a job as a cleaning lady, she ended up having to become a lady of the night to feed and support her children. This is what my grandfather caused her to become. My grandmother was later brutally unalived by one of her clients. This is what males will do to you. You can do everything right, and you will still get betrayed in the worst ways possible by him. I'm so, so glad this younger generation of women are waking the F up." Think about that. This girl was basically, she was a girl when she got married. She had no opportunity to form thoughts of her own. And her parents basically gave her to this older man. So when people are like, choose better, how the heck do you choose better at 15 years old? This person says, "My friend was a stay at home mom for 10 years. She had to start over after her divorce. She got tired of his abuse. Child support and spousal support is non existent because his job is commission based and he's no longer trying to hit goals. She's on welfare now and working temp jobs. I learned a lot from her experience." When people talk about people like me talk about just making sure that you have a plan B, C, D, E, and F. This is the reason, because when you have children that depend on you, you need a fallback because sometimes these humans, sometimes these ex-wives will take themselves out of the equation and you will be scrambling to feed yourself and your kids. This woman says, my girlfriend's 40-year-old hubby just had a stroke. He is paralyzed on one side of his body. She was a stay at home mom. His disability doesn't cover their expenses. Now she has to get a job, pay for childcare for a 1 year old, pay a mortgage, all expenses, plus help with his care. So even if you don't divorce, some things might happen because life be life. This woman says, I was a nurse and I've seen some wives' jaws drop at the bedside of hubby. I'm telling all those misses out there that you might get a big surprise if your mister ends up incapacitated or dies. And then you have to find out that the insurance policy is in his mama's name or his brother, sister, best friend, etc. And that he has divided his share of assets between a dozen other people, including the house you live in. So don't get cocky because you got that ring, baby girl. Have your own. Exactly. You really don't know. And why is it so bad for women to have a sense of survival? It is not a bad thing to want to survive just in case. This person says, we can all agree we aren't the same people we were 10 or 20 years ago. So why is it impossible for some women to believe that they and their man can and will change? That good guy can change. That Bible believing man can change. Saying he will never cheat or leave you is almost a guarantee he will. The universe has a funny way of humbling us. Be smart, ladies. All right, so this person says the he can get disability comment had me hollering. Girl, most people who need disability do not get it, and those that do not get enough to live on. And those with a spouse who can work get nothing. I have to keep reminding myself these women are still children who know so little of the real world. Bless their hearts. This woman says, yep, my aunt has been married 3 times. And every time I talk about her struggles, some ash hat goes, guess she really knew how to pick 'em, or she must have been a real piece of work if she can't keep a man around. 2 of her husbands tried to unalive her, and the third robbed her blind. These are men she knew for years before dating, and there wasn't a single red flag to be found. First guy ended up being a closeted gay guy that she had dated throughout high school. Once he realized he was gay, instead of letting her know and ending the marriage, he instead started having affairs and tried to get her pregnant with the intent of making her out to be an unfit mother. When that didn't work, she lost the baby late term, and in order to save her life, they gave her a hysterectomy. He began to just beat the effing living crap out of her and started to bring his men home with him. He held her hostage for years before a friend was able to get her out, but he stole all her money and destroyed her home to the point it had to be condemned. Second husband was a workaholic, but other than that, he didn't seem all that bad until he lost his job, started drinking, destroyed her side hustle work, and beat her so bad she ended up in an induced coma for a month. Third husband was a longtime friend who our family helped out after his mother abandoned him in his teens. Smart, hardworking, and a generally nice guy. Until mommy came back after his marriage to my aunt. Then, to please mommy, he began stealing from my aunt until they lost the house she spent 5 years saving for so she could have a home in order to adopt a kid, as she hoped this would be the time she could finally have a child. Nope. He took everything and then maxed out multiple credit cards and took out loans in her name before he and mommy ran off. She then spent the next 15 years trying to pay off those off while working multiple jobs. She worked so much that now she can't. Her body just broke down. And now she's alone with stage 3 cancer from not being able to take care of herself and working jobs that exposed her to dangerous chemicals. I'm sharing these stories because sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes women should just literally be single. That sometimes being single will save your life. That's what some of these stories are saying to me. That being left to figure things out and you have no education, no work experience, no training in anything will leave you exposed like these women were exposed. And I'm going to continue to share these stories. I have so many more. And ladies, jump in the comments and you can continue to share. Let's help the next lady. Let's help the next girl. Like, comment, share. It's International Women's Day, and we're doing a Kiki Fest on my pages. I said, name something a Pickmeisha would say. And if you look, you'll see on this one platform, I got 258 responses. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can in a 10-minute video. Some things that a Pickmeisha would say. You need to stop doing whatever it is that's provoking him to beat you. If you were doing your job as a woman, he wouldn't be with me. What were you wearing? Real men like women with insert body part. Eliza says, you never pull a man acting like that. Lessen your ego or self-respect. Naya says, not all men. So Many Obstacles says, I bring blah, blah, blah to the table. Like I cook, I clean. Got Lovelace says, y'all are jealous. Shamakia says, you don't need her. I can love you better, King. Be his peace. I have a husband. You don't. And you guys say, my husband, my husband, my husband, yes, my husband, that. This person says, also be sure to include things they say to children, specifically girl children, while prioritizing male validation. Uh, Several people have said, I'm not like other girls. Also to be, is also to be said, I'm not like other females. There are not a lot of women like me with morals. Tessa says, help build him. Level Up Goddess says, you just have to speak life into him. Black males have it hard out here. Not all, not all. Black love. You have to be able to see his potential. Twisted says, my first choice is my husband. My second choice is, but he's a good man, Savannah. A good man. Anonymous says, I prefer working with men. They're less drama, while all of them call her a woman of the night behind her back. This 5 o'clock Charlie says, divine feminine. Katarina says, don't let a man get in the kitchen or clean the house. She says, my aunt scolded me for asking my new husband to buy me sanitary pads. This person says, this is my favorite. He comes home to me though. This person says, I'm nothing like these other girls out here. They all want to be 304s and city girls. This person said, my husband told me to stop hanging out with my single friends because they are just jealous and want me to be single just like them. And several people have said, where's your man? Build with a man. Now, introvert has quite a few. At least I have a man. A woman should dress modest. What does she do to provoke him? Men like natural women. Men like soft-spoken women. Calling themselves trad wife, like our mothers and grandmothers weren't poisoning, hot gritting, and disappearing these men. Stay-at-home mother isn't feminist. A woman's greatest achievement is to be a wife or mother. Leave the room when men are talking. A woman's responsibility is to do housework. Well, if Eve didn't bite the apple, we come from a man's rib. Submit to Jesus, then your husband. Be submissive. I don't wear makeup like those girls. From some of my Facebook comments, make sure to put that's why you're single in the middle. I'm not like other girls again. If you were my man, I'm the type of woman that. Nicole says, I would never make you feel, I guess, talking to a man. Love Win says, all women are wrong. You're right, King. Kiana says, I love walks in the park at night as a first date. This person says, using the word females instead of women. From some of my TikTok comments, girl, you need to rest in your feminine energy. Coco Cream says, you're jealous I have a man and you don't. Jay Adulting says, if he cheats, it's because you didn't blank. Scorpion Queen says, as long as he knows where home is. Tarot by Tiea says, that's my man. I'ma stick beside him. Kitty says, at least he comes home to me. Kitty also says, he said his ex is crazy. All of his exes are crazy. Victoria says, I don't have female friends. And San says, ain't no man supposed to spend money on a first date. It should be free. Kim says, I just don't get on with girls. They're too much drama. Melanin Mischief says, me, exist. Pickmeisha, You brought it, abuse, adultery, neglect, on yourself. Anime Bonnet says, I don't mess with females. And this is a good one. She says, I'm going to pick one of the most famous ones, Mary J. Blige. I can love you better than she can. There were lots more, but it seems like we all know who Pickmeisha is and what Pickmeisha says. All right, that's enough for right now. Join the conversation if you want to. Drop any comments that you have not yet seen. Like, comment, share.